Thank you for joining us. I'm Bill Jasper, Senior Editor of the New American Magazine, and we're very honored to have with us today Dr. Jerome Corsi, who is right in the center of a huge battle going on in our country for the freedom of America. This is really an incredible thing that is happening here, and for those viewers who haven't been able to follow all these things, there's so much happening in the world today. Dr. Jerome Corsi, who is an investigative journalist, best-selling author, economist. I've had the pleasure of being tear gassed with him at the Security and Prosperity Partnership conference up in Canada, Quebec, a few years ago. He is right now being prosecuted by Special Counsel Robert Mueller, who is going after President Trump and many other people supposedly on collusion with Russia and other charges. And I'm very pleased to see that Dr. Corsi is not folding, he's fighting back, and we're going to be getting into that right here and get to the meat of it. But Jerome, thank you very much for being with us here today.
Bill, it's always a pleasure to be with you. Thank you. And I'm right now the Mueller special prosecutor. They offered me a plea deal. I didn't ask for it, and I'll explain it. But they are charging that I knowingly and willfully gave false information with the intention to deceive to the special prosecutor and the FBI, which I did not do. They're charging me on testimony they allowed me to amend. I'd forgotten 2 emails. It's pretty shocking to me. At any rate, I have not been indicted yet. I've told the special counselor in the world that I'm going to fight it, and that if they have to lock me up for the rest of my life, so be it. But I will not stand in front of a U.S. district judge, as Mueller and his henchmen wanted me to do, and swear to God and the judge that I had committed a crime I did not. They wanted me to swear a lie under oath to God. In other words, that I had committed this crime when I know in my heart I gave them all of my computers, all my emails. I turned over everything voluntarily, and I went in there to tell them the truth. They play this stupid perjury trap game when they don't get what they want, and I won't lie and sign a fraudulent plea deal, which they offered me to shut me up. I didn't ask for it. They can come prosecute me if they want. They can throw them by sorry hide in jail for the rest of my life if that's what it takes in order to preserve my integrity.
Well, this is really an amazing case, and it's really very important that you are standing up for this. In fact, correct me if I'm wrong, but you have launched a counteroffensive against them and are bringing suit against Robert Mueller and his team, correct?
Yes, today my attorneys filed a complaint, including it's a criminal complaint as well as alleging a whole series of ethics and other rule violations against Robert Mueller and his special counselor. It was filed this morning, 9 a.m. Eastern Time, with the acting Attorney General Whitaker. It was filed with the Department of Justice Inspector General Horowitz, the Department of Justice Office of Professional Responsibility, and a variety of other law enforcement and other regulatory agencies. What the suit with the complaint alleges is that my experience, 40 hours over 6 sessions in 2 months of this grueling, I think, Gestapo-like interrogation, and the way I was treated, including the political bias that the prosecutors, Jeannie Rhee, who represented Hillary Clinton on her email case in the foundation, Aaron Zelinsky, and Andrew Goldstein, both of whom have contributed only to Democrats as far as I know. The political bias they demonstrated to me proved that the Mueller investigation is not only politically motivated, it's criminally driven. And I filed this suit, which is a very serious suit, and it's being widely publicized, so it won't be ignored. It can't be ignored, because I don't want anybody else to have to suffer the abuses as an American citizen. You know, your wife crying and his daddy going to prison. I'm 72 years old. I don't believe I have as much as a parking ticket on my record until I met Mueller, and then suddenly these people let me know they don't like my books, they don't like my writing, they don't like my politics, and they want to put me in jail because I have a bad memory.
Well, your latest book is on the deep state, and you are now face to face with agents of the deep state who are trying to take away your freedom and the freedoms of all Americans here. You are a journalist, and under the First Amendment, you are exercising your rights and your due diligence as a journalist to look into all of these issues with regard to the Hillary Clinton emails, etc. Let's get to what is the supposed pretext of your charge, of the charges against you.
Well, the entire discussion fell apart when I explained to the special prosecutor that in July and August of 2016, when I was with my wife and family in Italy on our 25th wedding anniversary celebration, we were in Italy to celebrate our wedding anniversary, my wife and I. We've been married 27 years now. I had figured out through deduction on the airplane flight over to Italy that Julian Assange had Podesta's emails. And I figured out those were what he had remaining after July 22nd, 2016. He had dropped Democratic National Committee emails on Debbie Wasserman Schultz to end her career with the Democratic National Committee. And I figured this out. I knew Julian Assange would release them in October. That's how I would release them. I figured he'd release them serially, day by day, drip by drip, because that's how they'd have the most effect. And I told Roger Stone and I told others, and the special counsel can't believe that I figured this out myself. Now, I want to make one more point, Bill. On the first day I gave testimony, I couldn't download my 2016 emails. I turned over the time machine at an Apple computer, but my 17-inch laptop, which I'd used at that time, I love that 17-inch. They don't make that size screen anymore by Apple. Tried to keep it going. It's just about broken. I handed over the time machine. I didn't want to risk loading the 2016 emails. I also wanted to hand it over in the state it was the day I quit using it. I didn't see my 2016 emails. They asked me on the first day if I wanted to go see Assange or would send anybody else over to see Assange. And I said no. And they all stomp out of the room. And now they can demonstrably prove that what I said was false. I'd forgotten 2 emails. I said, wait a minute, it's not fair. I haven't looked at my emails. They said, go home, look at your emails. They allowed me to come back in about 10 days and amend the testimony, which, of course, when I saw one email that I had forwarded from Roger Stone asking, I asked Ted Malloch in London to go see Assange. And I told Joseph Farrow, who is my boss and the editor-in-chief at WorldNet Daily, that if he sent me an airplane ticket, I'd go to London and see Assange. Neither one happened. And I'd forgotten about the emails. And so when the special prosecutor offered me a plea, I didn't ask for the plea. They called on my attorney to get me off of the television. I was about to go into the studio door on 49th Street, going into NBC studio to do an interview. And my lawyer said, drive on. Don't go up to Fifth Avenue. Don't get out. And the special prosecutor said they'd give me this deal if I wouldn't go into any more media. Well, the deal they offered was I could plead guilty to 1 count. And what they wanted me to plead guilty to was my first day's testimony, not acknowledging that I had amended it and that they'd allowed me to amend it. That's how fraudulent the plea deal was. Everything about the special prosecutor was equally fraudulent. And that's why my attorneys today have filed a criminal complaint against Mueller, asking that he be replaced, that he and his whole team be placed under investigation, and that a special prosecutor who will proceed by equal justice under the law be set in to replace him.
Well, President Trump has repeatedly referred to this as a witch hunt, the whole Mueller investigation as a witch hunt. I think that is a very appropriate designation for it. But this is pretty classic in what they're doing here, is just to squeeze every possible witness they can, put the kind of pressure on you. Everyone, when you're faced with the might of the U.S. government, that's a very frightening position to be in. You can have your life destroyed, your reputation destroyed, your fortune destroyed. and they get people to roll over this way, and that's a terrible abuse of power. And I was reading your press release from today from your complaint, and Larry Klayman is representing you, correct?
That's correct, yes. And also David Gray, my original attorney, is they're forming a team to represent me.
And they are representing you. Now, they accompanied you on these grueling sessions with
David Gray did. In fact, Bill, I've written a book called Silent No More. It's up on Amazon now, and its subtitle is How I Became a Political Prisoner of the Mueller Witch Hunt. Now, that book I wrote as it was going on, so it's written first person, day by day, has an immediacy. It's almost written like a horror show. You know, I mean, it's the suspense as I reread it is right there in the pages. Now, I've also the publisher is Post Hill Press, and we made some decisions over the weekend. I mean, it's posted as a hardcover book that'll come out in March. Now, of course, in publishing, you make most money in a hardcover book. Publisher wanted to do that. I instructed the publisher this week. This will have a ebook edition. The publisher and I will make less money. I said, I don't care. The ebook edition, people can read immediately. That should be posted by the end of the week. And then today, Post Hill Press is going to auction off the audiobook rights. So we're going to get an ebook and an audiobook, so you can read Silent No More right now. That is going to be, I think, a thrilling kind of read.
And now that people can order that right now on Amazon?
Yes, you can order the hardcover right now. Okay. And if you wait just a little bit, you'll be able also to get the ebook, and you'll be able to get the ebook, and you'll be able to get the audiobook. I'd say the ebook is going to, order the hardcover. I want it to come up to number one. I mean, you can probably always cancel that order when the ebook is available. But what I want people to do is buy the ebook when it's available later this week, Silent No More, Jerome Corsi, and then buy the audiobook. Because I want, literally thousands of people to experience what I experienced by reading this book. It's day by day. I put you right in the chair next to me going through this with Mueller. Nobody has ever written a firsthand experience of what this Gestapo-like interrogation is all about. You're in a closed room. You don't get no windows. You're in there for 10 in the morning until 6 at night. I don't have my cell phone. I can't call my wife. They're stomping in and out of the room. They're acting up and saying they're going to put me in prison for the rest of my life from the first day. I do 40 hours of this over 6 sessions, 2 months. Spent a lot of hours in that room alone while my attorney was trying to talk them off the ledge. They're constantly saying they're just going to throw me in prison. I'm 72 years old. It wasn't very fun to go through this exercise.
Well, Jerome, also we should point out that a great deal of information, including the copies of the complaint and your latest press releases and whatnot, are available on CorsiNation.com. That's your website, correct?
Yes. I want to say something about that too, Bill. When I put up the notice of this complaint that we're filing, doing it right now, it's been filed this morning with the Department of Justice, a criminal complaint against Mueller. I put it on Twitter. My Twitter account got bombarded with all of these Soros-funded trolls who tried to take the account down. My staff in Corsi Nation, we had the website taken down by the same trolls. They wanted anybody to read the complaint. And so my staff was fighting this until 5 in the morning.
So that was, were you successfully hacked? Were they able to knock you down?
Oh yeah, the site was off. I don't think the site is just now maybe fully back.
Oh, okay, yes, because I was on it just a few minutes ago. So.
Yeah, so it's just back now.
President Trump has repeatedly said, and he's been disregarded and dismissed by the media for claiming that the Mueller team is really a bunch of Hillary Clinton supporters, clones, Democrats. It's even worse than that. is it not? Tell us a little bit about, now one of the main interrogators for you, I believe, is Jeannie Reed, right?
Well, Jeannie Reed, and she is, I say, the Hillary Clinton attorney, representing Hillary Clinton and the foundation, I believe, and also the emails. Very partisan Democrat and hard left Democrat. Jeannie Reed ridiculed me, especially towards the end. I said I had figured out that Podesta had, Assange had Podesta's emails, and Jeannie Reed said, Dr. Corsi, you're asking, just complete ridicule. You're asking us to believe that on this international flight, you had divine inspiration, and by a miracle, God told you that Assange had Podesta's emails. They would release them in October, and he would do it in a serial fashion. I said, well, Ms. Reed, so I happen to believe in Jesus Christ as my personal Savior. I know that makes me a weird duck coming from Harvard, PhD from Harvard. You might not understand that. If you want to ridicule my faith, you go ahead. But I figured it out, and I'll attribute it to God helping me to figure that out, because what I think is that, is I pray, and I do believe that it assists me in sorting through my thoughts, and that you want to attribute it to divine inspiration, I'll be happy to accept that. I don't attribute it to the divine because I don't want to assume anything that's special for myself. And the other prosecutor, Zelensky, was badgering me. He said, Dr. Corsi, you take a fact here and you take a fact there and you weave them into lies, and millions of people. So he's ridiculing my books. I've written 20 books since 2004. 7 of them were New York Times bestsellers. 2 were #1. I defy Aaron Zelensky, who I don't think has written a single book, to find another nonfiction author with a similar track record of a success. Yet he's ridiculing my books, clearly indicating his political bias. Because I wouldn't give them a source to Assange. I don't have a source to Assange. I never spoke to Assange. I never met Assange. I haven't emailed with Assange. I don't have anybody who's an intermediary with Assange. Like it or not, the special prosecutors are just going to have to accept the fact that I deduced in July and August 2016, while on the 25th anniversary with my wife, thinking about it, that Assange had Podesta's emails, and I was right.
In the press release this morning about the complaint, your attorney, Larry Klayman, says, quote, in filing this complaint, my client is not only standing up for his legal and constitutional rights, but also those of the American people. This rogue government tyranny perpetrated by the special counsel and his prosecutorial staff, which is designed to effectively overthrow a duly elected president by coercing and extorting false testimony from Dr. Corsi and others, cannot be permitted. It goes on to say that Robert Mueller be disciplined and removed as special counsel along with his partisan staff, and that these serious allegations be referred to appropriate state and local authorities for criminal prosecution. It also demands that Mueller and his prosecutorial staff be disbarred from the practice of law. Now, the charges that you are alleging against Mueller and his staff are serious charges. Those are criminal offenses.
I think it's a criminal operation. It's a politically driven, it's a politically motivated, criminally driven operation. They're operating as criminals. This is what I'm alleging, is that the political criminals have been in charge of the Justice Department and they won't investigate themselves. In fact, the complaint in the last paragraphs allege that Mueller is part of an ongoing coup d'etat treasonous conspiracy, and their whole modus operandi is they didn't want to hear. I had lots of it. I wanted to talk to them about how the democratic computer system was put together, about which I knew a great deal from a source, that it was not possible that Russia did the hack. They don't want to hear that. They want to hear about my evidence about Huma Abedin or John Podesta and Hillary making millions of dollars selling military technology to Russia. So, Dr. Corsi, we're not interested in those. So they wouldn't let me explain to them this. I went in to help them. And all they wanted was to know how I could connect Roger Stone to Assange. It was going to be Roger Stone, Jerry Corsi, Assange, and then Roger Stone to Steve Bannon to Trump. And that was their collusion on their theory that Russia stole the emails. It's fraudulent, Bill, because look, Julian Assange has said from the beginning Russia didn't have anything to do with it. Now, Mueller, that's the core premise of his whole investigation. That Russia stole these emails. They won't give Assange immunity and say, okay, Assange, what's your proof it wasn't Russia? I believe Assange has that proof. And under New York Times v. U.S., he ought to be given immunity and he'd come back here. That's the best evidence. That and the DNC computer. And President Trump is right. The Democratic National Committee won't let that server go. Now, this whole Russia nonsense, Podesta's emails were breached in March 2016. The DNC didn't announce it until June 2016. They brought in CrowdStrike, which is funded by Eric Schmidt. Eric Schmidt was doing Hillary Clinton's Get Out the Vote exercise. CrowdStrike says, oh, it's Fuzzy Bear, Cozy Bear, it was the Russians. And our intelligence agencies all follow that assessment. Well, they ignored the fact that Julian Assange also dropped in his Vault 7 CIA internal papers, which show the CIA has the ability to hack into a computer and make it look like Cozy Bear and Fuzzy Bear and all the other bears. I think this was a setup. I think they know it was a lie. And I think they premised 2 years trying to impeach Donald Trump and get people like me on one kind of a crime or another. And they haven't established their core premise. They can't. Russia didn't steal the emails. And any forensic analysis will show that. I'm as convinced I have figured that out and am correct as I was convinced in July and August 2016 that Assange had Podesta emails. I figured that out and was correct as well.
Well, I think as we've stated and others have as well, the only solid evidence we have of collusion with Russia is that which Hillary Clinton and the Clinton Foundation and others who are pushing this witch hunt on you and on the president. That's where the real collusion has been, and I really commend you on a heroic stand here, and hopefully the American people will support you in this, and will get Congress to step up to the plate and do its job.
Well, Bill, I'm doing this because it's the only way to preserve my integrity. And if I have to go to jail for the rest of my life, that's what Mueller wants to do to me. I will still not swear a lie before God and before a federal judge to a crime I did not commit. And I will not accept a fraudulent plea deal, which even required I not tell the regulators, my securities and insurance licenses, that my status had changed, which I have a responsibility under their rules to do immediately. I've notified my broker-dealer through my attorneys if I get indicted, they are to know about it immediately so the regulatory authorities can be informed. Mueller's out to destroy my life and destroy my career, prevent me from ever writing again, and I won't sign his fraudulent deal. In fact, I filed this criminal complaint in the hope that there's yet enough good people in the country who will support the Constitution and our freedoms, who will demand Department of Justice investigation of Mueller to start immediately. And I'm hoping the case I'm praying to God that will be the case.
Well, again, let us refer all our viewers to CorsiNation.com and to your new book, which is, the title again is?
Silent No More.
Silent No More, and that is available now on Amazon and will soon be available in ebook.
It will be by the end of the week. The ebook will be posted. Shortly thereafter, they will have an audio book. If people buy the hardcover book, it's going to boost the ratings on Amazon. The hardcover will be available in March. But the ebook, I want the ebook and the audio book out just as soon as possible so people can read my firsthand account of this horror show I suffered at the hands of Mueller and his henchmen.
Well, Jerome, we're going to have you back on again, give us updates, and we'll keep telling the American people about this.